business partners. Today we have 3 individual segments to share with you during our program. The first will be the renovation of a shopping center facade. Second, the segment will focus on stormwater management. And our last segment will be about an international company that's settled in the Roanoke County community. So stay tuned, you don't want to miss the show.
Enjoy a day at the beach without the drive at Splash Valley. Plunge down 2 3.5-story water slides, relax in the current river or pool deck, splash in our aquatic spray ground. Get wet and have fun at Splash Valley. Open daily through Labor Day.
Welcome to South County. We're on 419 at Promenade Park, and joining me now is Dennis Cronk, who is President and CEO of Poe & Cronk. Dennis, thank you for letting us come onto one of your properties and talk about what's going on at Promenade. In fact, why don't we walk and talk? How's that?
Okay, works out for me.
All right. You've got something really big going on here, the 30th anniversary. Tell us a little bit about the history of Promenade, because it was one of the first, right?
Yeah, it was 30 years ago. I think in 1984 they started construction, and some of the original tenants are still here today.
That's amazing.
Which is exciting. And the opportunity came about 2.5 years ago that the property was going to be available for sale. Our firm sold it to a local investment group, and in return gave us an opportunity to manage what we think is one of the premier assets in Roanoke.
Oh, that's great. Well, Dennis, how do you decide what your marketing mix is going to be for a shopping center like this?
Well, that's one of the most important things about retail, especially when you have a shopping center, is the mix, because each tenant feeds the other tenants, and we got a great mix here. Each one of them benefits from the other, and parking's an important thing, so you don't want somebody to overwhelm your parking.
Exactly.
So that's one of the important things that, and we don't accept every tenant that wants to be here, but yet we try to make everything work. Then we have great occupancy. It was 100% occupied when we purchased it. We got a couple that are coming up this year, but we have two interested parties now that are working on a lease.
You have redone the total facade. How did you decide what the new facade was going to look like?
Well, it took a year of planning, and we were very careful and methodical about it. We met with several different architects. We got each one of them to give us some proposals on what it would take to accomplish our objective, and to be able to do it in a manner that we don't disrupt the tenants, because you're 100% occupied, and these tenants are trying to make a living. So the time frame for construction was doubled so we could slowly work it through the process. But
you were red brick, and you went to, this is a beige off-white. Drive it.
And it's a lifestyle center in the new age, and that's what we wanted to create. Accessibility, access, in and out quickly, a mixture of boutique tenants.
That's really one of the big benefits. You can pull right up in front of the store that you want to go into, hop in, hop back out, and be back out in traffic.
Well, and the other thing is we wanted to stay. I drove by here a lot of times at night, and the building was tired. After 30 years, that happens. It was a great asset.
Exactly.
The original owner and the developers did a phenomenal job in keeping the tenant mix and had a great center. We're very fortunate to be able to follow them. But after 30 years, most real estate becomes a little tired. So we brought it up, I think, to current events because it looks more modern.
At night, it shines like a beacon.
Well, we had some real good help in trying to how we could light it up at night, because before you go through it was really dark. And we used an LED lighting so we could keep the cost down, but we got some great so yeah, if you haven't been by here, let them drive by here at night. I'm really proud of it. Unfortunately, I drive by too much.
I'm sure you do. You ought to be proud of it. Well, let me ask you the big question. When you've got, like 17 businesses here in this complex, and you're going to go and you're going to renovate the entire facade, be up on the roof, everything, but all these businesses are going to try to stay open. Well, they are going to stay open. They're not going to try about it. How do you manage the logistics of something like that?
Well, the builder did a great job. We planned it out. We spread the time frame out. We did section by section, and you have different contractors working on different things. Typically, it's easier to come in and just one contractor do all this, then the next one do the roof, and they're all working the whole center. But we set that up at first, and it worked well. The tenants were very cooperative. I can't say it was perfect. Nothing ever is.
Nothing ever is with construction.
Everybody's excited about it. The customers are excited about the new look and feel, and so it worked out fine.
Wonderful. Well,
you want to walk through here?
Yes, let's go in and peek at one, okay?
this tenant's been here for a long time. Well, welcome to Nature's Alley.
Well, thank you. I think I've been here a few times before.
I appreciate that. Oh, really? I appreciate them allowing us to come through. And it's a great store.
Absolutely.
It's a good-sized store. It's one of the popular stores for our tenants and their customers. And they've been here almost 20 years.
That's
and I hope
hard to believe. Well, then that's the ultimate compliment to management when a tenant stays that long. And plus, you cannot beat the view shed to Electric Road.
It's amazing, the things that's happened along here.
40,000 vehicles per day. I mean, you can't buy that kind of advertising, Dennis. So this should be a very popular place to be, you know?
It is. And quite frankly, I want to tell you a little bit about my newest tenant. We had one open up on April the 12th, and new concept for Pizza Hut. They have their takeout only. Well, you can pick up and take out store here, and they have. They're into pizza and pasta and everything. That's our newest tenant. We're excited about that. I think it adds a different little mix to the center.
Sure.
We only have one sub shop. We have one pizza place. But you know, Subway. The interesting thing about Subway. They were the first Subway in Roanoke.
I didn't know
I've heard that from so many people when they
that is so
said I'm
unbelievable.
Involved in it. And the owner of it now that operates it, he was the original owner. And
so they've been here like
since 1984, 85 when they one of the first tenants. Yes.
Good grief.
Yeah.
They're celebrating the 30th anniversary.
And according to the owner, in the last 3 years, each year has been a better year. So they're still growing and doing a great job.
Well, I can attest to that, because if you come there for lunch, you better be able to allow some time to wait in line.
That's why I keep doing it. So
that's exactly right.
From Subway to Pizza Hut and everything in between, we've had tenants, 4 or 5, it's been here over 20 years.
Yes.
So that's exciting.
Well, Dennis, I mean, we really owe you a big thank you, and your tenants, because, as you say, the longevity's here. That means that they're providing great services to the community, or they would not be here.
Yes.
It's a great look. We thank you for the investment in the facade, for the new businesses that you're bringing in. And so, please keep up the good work and keep doing it in Roanoke County, okay?
Keep coming and visiting the tenants, but we're excited. Retail's a big thing, and we're having a great time with it.
Yes, so come to the boutique or the lifestyle center, whatever you prefer, okay?
That's right.
Well, thank you, Dennis.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Welcome back. We're here today to talk about the new stormwater management requirements in Roanoke County. Many of you have probably heard today about a lot of the changes that are going on now with new stormwater regulations. With me here today to discuss this is Cindy Linkenhoker, the stormwater manager for Roanoke County. Welcome, Cindy.
Thank you.
Now, Cindy, there are a lot of changing requirements going on, and we're here today to talk about this and how it affects our business community. Can you tell us a little more?
Well, there are several major stormwater management programs out there that are definitely going to affect businesses and how they conduct their day-to-day operations.
Okay, and what are the primary regulations that business owners need to know about?
Well, it starts out with the Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System Permit, fondly called the MS4 permit. And that's what we call the umbrella permit, sort of the overarching permit that has a lot of requirements for us to run existing programs as well as for us to run some new programs.
Now, this MS4 permit is pretty detailed, and I know that it's going to make a lot of requirements of our businesses. What types of changes can you expect for the business community?
Well, let me first enumerate what the programs are, and then from there we can go to your answer. There are some existing programs, such as the floodplain management program you're probably familiar with. And that program essentially provides homeowners with the opportunity for flood insurance. It also causes us to regulate development in the floodplain. In addition to that, we have an erosion and sediment control program. That program regulates construction activity while it's under construction. Basically, keeping the dirt on the project is the purpose of that program. Then we have the Virginia Stormwater Management Program. That's the new one. It comes in July, starting July 1, 2014, this summer. And that program brings with it some new requirements, one of which is the construction general permit. Now, developers have been getting this permit through DEQ. Starting July 1, they're going to get that permit from the county. This program also is going to bring some more stringent stormwater requirements, which is going to make it more difficult to design your sites when you're going to build something. Another program out there, the illicit discharge program. This is basically nothing can go into the storm drainage except storm water runoff, rainfall, so to speak, that's picked up things along the way. The real guts of that program is that we're not allowed to let anything get into the storm drain. And so that means businesses that are involved in power washing, washing cars, maybe rinsing out dumpsters, restaurants dumping out grease after their evening. They're going to have to think about how they do that in the future so that it doesn't get in the storm drainage system. And then last but not least is what we call the total maximum daily load program. That is in effect a pollution diet that EPA has put us on. And that pollution diet gives us numeric limits that we can't exceed for 3 different things: PCBs, bacteria, and sediment. So all of these regulations are working together, making things much more stringent than they used to be.
Well, this is obviously very complex, and it's going to require changes for the way businesses operate.
Right.
What other changes do you foresee for the business community?
Well, I see that some of the work practices are going to change, such as how a restaurant might, rinse out its its kitchen grease. Mm-hmm. You can't, and they probably don't do it now, but you're not going to be able to go out in the back and rinse out your kitchen mats or dump any greases in a way that they could go across pavement and get into the storm drainage system. That has to go into some sort of approved container and get carried off someplace else, as in the trash can. We won't be able to rinse dumpsters because they're greasy and oily. If they get rinsed out and they leak, that would go in the storm drainage system. And then the problem here, most people don't realize this, but the storm drainage system is an underground pipe system. It goes directly to the river. It's not treated. It doesn't go to a treatment plant. So hence the concern for keeping things out of the storm drainage system. The bottom line here is we're trying to keep these TMDL pollutants out. The TMDLs, again, PCBs, which we can't really control too much, but sediment and bacteria.
We're just keeping our waterways clean now, and of course, this is part of the reason for the regulation.
Absolutely. So, businesses like car dealerships and detailers, they're going to have to kind of think about this. How are we going to wash cars now in the future so that we keep our wash water out of the storm drainage system?
So Cindy, many businesses in the county own a pond. Some of them are wet and some of them are dry. What do they need to do with their ponds?
Well, they need to keep the trash out. They need to look for areas of erosion. If there's erosion, they need to fix it. They need to check the structural components, the riser pipes, the actual drainage pipe that comes in, the outlet structure. Any structural component needs to be checked for proper working order and of course fix it if there's a problem. They also need to take a look at the vegetation that's growing and keep out the woody vegetation in particular. We don't want trees on the side slopes because they act as levers and they eventually pull the soil in as they topple over, causing erosion. We want to make sure there's no wetlands growing in the facility if it's not a facility that was designed for wetlands. So just basically keep the nuisance of vegetation out of the structure. And also keep the area seeded. What was supposed to be grass, let's keep it grass. So that also helps keep down the erosion problem.
Sure. Now, does Roanoke County enforce the owner maintenance of these facilities?
They do. We are required by our permit, that MS4 permit, to inspect the privately owned BMPs once every 5 years. So we have 500 or 600 BMPs in the county that are privately owned. So, you know, over that 5-year period, we have to look at each one of them at least once. And then we are also tasked with inspecting our own BMPs, county-owned BMPs, once per year. Those inspections have to be documented, and we have to report out to DEQ in our annual report every year.
Now, Cindy, there's a whole lot of information associated with the new stormwater requirement, and I know there's going to be more coming out from not just Roanoke County, but throughout the region. More information is going to be shared with the business community in the future, and you know, I know there's a lot associated with that, including training of employees and educational opportunities. What should employers do?
Well, at this point, probably touch base with us. Take a look at our website. I'll be happy to help out and give some guidance and direct them to other websites. Like EPA has a very nice suite of BNPs, they call it, for education. They're going to have to do some employee education. Topics would probably include spill response. How do we make sure if we spill paint that it doesn't get in the storm drain, for example? Also on the illicit discharge and detection program, just that whole thing I was talking about of nothing down the storm drain except rain. And what we call municipal good housekeeping is just keeping our facilities neat and tidy so that things don't find their way to the storm drainage system. So those are the primary 3 areas that they would want to ramp up in their training efforts.
I think that's going to be very important to all businesses in the county from this point forward.
Yes, absolutely.
Is there anything you would like to add, Cindy, for our viewers?
Well, I guess that I'd just like to say that we're not sharing the pain alone. Our neighbors, the town of Vinton, the city of Roanoke, city of Salem, and others all have these same requirements. They all have a permit, and they're going to be dealing with the regulations as well. So we all just need to come to grips with the fact that the regulations are here to stay. Most of the localities in Virginia have to run a Virginia stormwater management program, and then most of the localities across the nation actually have TMDLs assigned to their waterways. So essentially, on a national scale, our waters are impaired. So we have a statewide effort, but we also have a national effort to clean up our waterways. And the benefit of doing that, of course, is so that we can enjoy the quality of life here in the county that we've come to expect.
Well, I'm sure we'll all stay tuned to know what the new regulations are going to be for Roanoke County, and
yes.
It's good to know that it's happening nationwide and that we're sharing it.
Yes, sharing the burden.
Sharing the burden. Cindy, thank you so much for being with us today. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, good to see you.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Participation in the recycling drop-off program in Roanoke County has been steadily increasing. With the increase comes growing pains. The following etiquette tips will help citizens receive the most benefit from the recycling program. Break down any boxes before placing them in the containers. We currently accept plastics and all types of cans. Do not place items with food residue in trailers. Fill trailers to capacity. When the recycling trailer is full, do not place items on the ground outside of the trailer. Visit another recycling trailer location. Please use the trailers properly.
Well, welcome to South County again. We are now in Southwest Industrial Park on Commonwealth Drive, and joining me is Franz Augustine. Now, he has 2 hats that he wears. With Canline USA, he is president. With Canline out of Netherlands, he is director and CEO. So in both capacities, Franz, welcome to the show. It's nice to have you.
Thank you very much.
I was hoping that maybe, since you're a brand new company for the county, you just really opened your doors in October, right?
Yes.
So if you would back up, when someone's out walking up and down the street, when they see your truck around town and they see Canline, tell them exactly what kind of business Canline is so that they'll be able to put that in their mind and have a visual image of what you do.
Okay. Actually, we started with magnetic handling of products. So that's our business. But when the aluminum cans came, we had to not have the non-magnetic products. So we also started handling aluminum cans.
Wow.
So we're more or less in the can industry. but also in the steel handling in general. So we can do nails, we can do batteries, all kind of steel products we can handle as well.
Okay.
We even deliver to big car manufacturers in Europe like Volkswagen and BMW. So actually everybody or every industry which handles steel, we can help out with the magnets. But in the can industry, we can handle the steel cans as well as the aluminum cans.
Oh, and that's a big deal, isn't it, when you're talking about conveyor belts, and especially conveyor belts that just don't go horizontal, the ones that turn and go vertical.
Yes.
You have to have the magnets there, or you're not going to be able to produce very much.
Now with the aluminum cans, that's very difficult because even the magnets don't work. Then we have another product. But with the steel cans, magnetics is of course a natural power.
Gotcha. Well, now you've been in business in the Netherlands since what, 1960s?
Yes, end of 1960s. Yes.
1960s. So you're very well known there. So you just don't sit down one day and say, well, I think the business in the Netherlands is doing well, I'll move to the United States tomorrow. No. I mean, you had to take a lot of time to sit and think this out and plot your strategy. And so could you share some of the factors with us about what made the United States an attractive market for you?
Of course, I myself, I'm not with the company since the end of the 60s.
Okay.
Actually, this company was owned by an American company.
Really?
It was owned by an American company. It's based in Worcester, Massachusetts. And this company, they make lifting equipment. And then in the Netherlands, they started with the conveying. And the American company was not really interested in the conveying itself, the business, and then decided to sell that part of the business. So as Canline, the name Canline is not that long around. It's about 5 years. So me and my partner sold this or bought this company from this American company 5 years ago and changed the name to Canline.
Okay.
We started with conveying in the end of the 60s, and when I came to the company at the end of the 80s, I got the experience, and my partner and myself decided that this had a good future, and that proved itself the last 5 years. The reason why we came to the US is that we had a project, big project. We did big projects before, like in China, South Africa, and we have a certain approach where we use as much as possible local suppliers, local people.
Right.
And we did that in South Africa, we did that in Vietnam, we did that in China, but this project in the US was this big that we thought we should have our own business here to make it possible to have business in the US itself, not only for the future, with future clients, but also for the project itself. So it's to have good American suppliers, to have employees working for you, have American management, which enables us to have this project done in a very, very good way.
And of course, the partner you're referring to is RDOG Group, right?
Yes.
And so for us, that's just music to our ears. It's just an incredible situation to, go out and recruit one prospect, especially an international prospect, and have them, come and relocate here and then bring in another great company right behind them because they're a supplier. It's just a win-win-win situation all over the place. So we have been delighted, to welcome and put out the welcome mat for you and RDOG Group. So it's been great, let me tell you. Well, you've been in this facility. You opened your doors officially around the beginning of October. Could you walk us through and give us a little tour about what you're doing in the facility, and then we'll talk a little bit about your product, okay?
Yes.
Okay.
I will. Thank you.
Let's go then. Okay, Franz, about how many square feet is this building?
Totally it's 11,000 square feet.
11,000, that includes your office,
yes.
Okay? All right, so when you're doing your processes to start building your equipment, you start out at the green machine. Tell us about that.
Yes, that's a punching machine we brought from Holland.
Okay.
It's actually cutting holes. Normally you have to drill holes, but that takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
We don't have a place and also not the production yet for a big punching machine as we have in Holland. So we took one of our little punching machines and we actually cut holes with that.
Okay. All right, so when you finish the punch procedure or whatever you have to do with the material you're working with, you go to the next station. What happens there?
After we have cut the material and we have the material from the punch machine, we're going to weld the frames.
Okay.
So the frames are the base of our machines, the supports, and these are built here. So at the moment we are building frames for the ADA facility in Roanoke, but as well as the other facility in Reno. So we ship frames from here to Nevada as well.
All right, gotcha. So over here you do welding, you do all kinds of things to build your frames, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Now when you finished with that, is that when you start making conveyor belts and doing that type of thing?
The only thing we have to do outside is powder coating. So we bring it to a powder coater in Roanoke.
Okay.
And when that's finished, we bring the parts to the location at ADA and we assemble the conveyors there.
You do it there, okay,
yes.
Gotcha. Well, you're going to do a little demonstration for us right now,
yes.
right? Okay, let's go over to that site and do that, okay? All right, Franz, you're going to do kind of a magnetic demonstration right now. You're just going to kind of give us an analogy of what would happen on a conveyor belt with magnets, right?
Yes.
Because they just don't all ride on a conveyor belt. Some go straight up and some go sideways, and without magnets that doesn't happen, right?
That's true, yes.
Okay, so tell us what you're doing with these cans right here, and you have a magnetic
conveyor
right there underneath.
Yes.
Okay.
It doesn't have the conveyor belt yet on, but that's for demonstration only.
Okay.
What I want to demonstrate is that when we are in processing making cans, that sometimes on the line a can falls.
Right.
And that can cannot be handled by the machine which is in the next step of the line.
Right.
So you want to have those cans taken out. And what this magnetic conveyor does is taking out the fallen cans.
And that's exactly what it does,
and you see these cans, I have a can with the open top.
Right.
And I have a can which is closed.
Closed top, yeah.
So you see that it will pick up both cans.
Okay.
And then the fallen can it will not pick up.
All right. Let's
so
see
I'm gonna have it underneath. And you can see when I go up.
Wow. Okay.
That the fallen can is not picked up. That means that the fallen can will
Which is
out.
a good thing, because otherwise it's going to jam up your system and cause a bottleneck and stop manufacturing or stop processing,
Yes.
right? Okay, but now these are special cans. You've got to tell us why they're so special.
Actually, the day before yesterday, these cans were produced at Roanoke, at the other site. Actually, are the first cans ever produced in Roanoke.
Okay, so this is great. I don't know. So you got this from Ardell yesterday?
Yes.
Okay. We'll have to frame it or put it somewhere for, you know, the future and all. Franz, this has been great. It's nice to get a sneak peek inside and see what's going on in Canline. I appreciate you taking the time. It was wonderful that you were stateside, so we got to interview with you to begin with. Thanks for coming over from the Netherlands, and we hope you'll stay in touch and maybe come back and keep us, you know, updated on how your progress is going in the United States, all right?
Okay, I will. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Volunteer firefighters save lives.
Do you have what it takes? Visit RoanokeCountyVA.gov/FRVolunteer.
Or call 540-777-8706 to become a volunteer today.
That's our show. Thank you for joining us on Roanoke County Business Partners. We've had 3 great groups to work with today, starting with Promenade Park and then going over to the county's Community Development Department and learning more about stormwater management issues. And finally here at Canline USA. As I said before, I will never look at a can the same way again. So thanks for joining us, and